It's going to be our very last. Blessing, please, you can start recording. Blessing. Miss Blessing, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Recording is in progress already.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. So, guys, like I said on the group, we're going to go through index match once again, and then we go through building a table and formatting a table once again before we go into what we have for today. All right, I'm hoping we can cover as much as possible. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now and we'll get right into it. All right, can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen, please?
Yes.
If you can see my screen, okay. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. So, okay, this is three. Okay, all right. So let me go right back up. Okay. Okay. So, what did we say about index match yesterday? Index match, most times they're used together. All right. But that doesn't mean you can't use it separately. But most times they're used together. All right. So, what is the purpose of the index match? It's a combination that allows flexible lookups in the sense that you can look through the columns and you can look through the rows. You don't have to bother about that. All right. And then what is the index function? The index function returns the value of a cell within a range after specifying the row and column number. All right. I gave an example yesterday. Then the match function. The match function returns the position of a value within a range. In essence, what are we saying? Let's say your data is on a column, right? It counts what position is it on. Is it in column one or column two or column three? All right. And then it returns the number. All right. So when I was explaining yesterday, I said, why do we use the index match? Remember, I said index needs you to specify the row and the column number it is going to deal with. All right. So instead of having to use your hand and your eyes to count that, yeah, you can simply use the match function to do that. Match function makes it a lot easier. All right. It helps you find your row number or your column number. And the row number or column number that it derives is what the index uses to generate an output. So in essence, your index is feeding off what you have in your match function. All right. So that is that. Let me go to, all right. So this is the data set, a mini data set we're working on. All right, we have product ID 1000 all the way to 1009. All right, so now let me do this again. Let's go with P1008. All right, now I want to find how many units of P1008 was sold in, let's say, October. All right. Ideally, this is small, so we can easily locate it. It is this, right? But let's take, for example, our data set is very huge, and your sales manager just walks up to you and say, "Oh, I need you to find how many units of this was sold in this month." All right. Ideally, you don't have the data up in your head. You don't know how it is. All right. In as much as you know what is contained in it, but you don't know the positioning of everything. So what do? You use your index match functions. All right. So let me do it right here. First thing we start with is what? Index tab. All right. Now, what does our index argument say? The first argument is array. Array means what you want me to return. Where can I find it? All right. And remember, I said we can, what we're looking for is a set 6, right? So we can find it here. All right. Don't include this or include this. I would explain why. So I go with all of this. Can decide to lock or not. And now it's asking us for a row number. A row number. Taking it again, is asking us for what? A row number. So now, if we look at month right here and we look at product ID right here, which will give us a row number? Some people are like, oh, it's meant to be the month, but no. In as much as yes, the month looks like it's on just one row, as we can see, but then we cannot give it a row number. We can't give it a row number because ideally this is just one row. So the next thing we turn to is what? Our product ID right here. And when you're selecting your product ID, let it sort of like be on the same lane with your array in your index. All right, sorry, match. All right, so now it's asking us for a lookup value. All right, what is our lookup value? It's this P1008, right? Because it falls on rows. All right, and then comma lookup array. Like I said before, a lookup array is different from a table array. Lookup array is where can I find the lookup value you just specified for me. In this case, our lookup value is what's P1008. So where can I find it? You don't, in essence, you don't have to start selecting everything again. Just tell Excel where it can find your P1008 in this system. So this is where I can find it. I want an exact match, that's a 0. I hit a tab and then I close this. So now, as you can see, it's telling me that we're done with row, comma, to enter the next argument. Now it's asking us for what? A column number. All right. So now in this case, we're looking for what? How many units of P1008 was sold in October? So now our months fall in columns, as we can see. We can count column 1, 2, 3, like that. So we use what? Another match. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this. Where can I find it? It's just right here. All right, comma, what form of match? I want an exact match, nothing less than or greater than that. And then I close this and I close this and I hit what? Enter. So it returned what? 36, which is what? Correct right here. All right. So that is that about index match. Any questions, please? Any questions? Let's be fast. And I forgot to mention, we can't use the chat box, okay? So if you have any questions, just raise your hand. All right. Any questions, anybody? All right, so I'm guessing no questions. All right, let's get right back into it. Okay, so this is that. So now I want us to go a little further, just a little further. All right. Like I mentioned, I'm going to take us through a tracker, how to build a tracker. All right. So here we have what sales tracker. All right. And on this side, we have what our product ID, which is the same as what we see here. So now I want to do it in a way that I can get the unit sold for each product ID when I click on a month. In essence, what am I saying? I don't want to have to be doing the index match over and over and over again. All right, just to check for each month. All right, so this is where your data validation comes in. All right, this is where your data validation comes in. So, like I said, I don't want to have to be doing the index match over and over. I want to do it in a way that if I click on a particular month, I can see the units sold for all the product IDs at a glance. All right. So, who can tell me what function, or should I say, what tool in Excel, yeah, can we use to like toggle between months? That is, we can see month at a glance and then click on any one that we want. Anybody, please, quickly.
I think data validation using this.
Sorry, who is speaking? Sorry.
Hello, hi, Ella, can you hear me?
Okay, I
I
can hear
said,
you.
my name is Richard. I said we can
Okay,
use data validation and then under the data validation, we'll be using this.
under data validation, we're using what?
List.
List. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. That was amazing. And yes, that's what we're going to use. So let's come over here. All right. To create a data validation, what do? I go to data and then I go to this a bit. Then I go to data validation right here and I click on what? Data validation. So validation criteria, I'm looking for what? A list. All right. And then it's not asking me where is my source. In this case, my source is what's my month. All right. So I can come here, I can just highlight all of this. These are my months. Then, all right. So I don't need an input message or an error alert. No, all these ones are not necessary. All right. So now what do? I click on OK. All right. So when I come right here, I can see this drop down. But then when I move away, I can't see it. So what do? I can format this. Let's give it a border. All right. So that people will know that, okay, there's something going on here. All right. So yes, you're correct, Mr. Richard. I can toggle between any month that I want. All right. So now, how do we get the units sold? Someone should quickly tell me, please, please. How do we get the units sold? Mr. Richard has helped us with how to toggle between months. So now, how do we get the units sold? Anyone, please.
Hi, Ella, I think we can't see your screen. Maybe I'm the only one. I just want to confirm, please.
You can't see my screen.
Yes, at the moment. I was seeing it before now, but not at the moment.
Please, is that the same for everyone? Please, if you know you can't see my screen, let me know.
I can see your screen.
Or you can see my screen. Any other person, please. Let me be sure that it's not a general issue.
I can see your screen also.
Okay, you can see my screen. All right, that is perfect. Thank you. All right.
I can also see
So,
it as well.
sorry, what do you say?
I said I can also see your screen.
Okay, you can see my screen. All right, thank you. All right, so I had to bold this so that it becomes a lot more clear. All right, so now how do we get our units sold? We are going to use what our index match function yet again to get that. So please, everyone, pay attention, because this might be a little tricky, but I need you to pay close attention. It's the same thing that we did down here. It's the same thing. All right. So index, my array, it's still the same way I did it. This right here. Now, this time, what am I going to do? I will have to lock my array. Why? Because I'm going to drill this function all the way to P1009. So I don't want it to move. I lock that. Then comma, it's asking me for a row number. In this case, what falls on rows? What falls on rows? It is still what my product ID.
Product ID.
All right. Yeah. I use what my match. Let me adjust this a bit. Okay. I use my match. All right. Now, first thing, what is my lookup value? Instead of coming to click here, I just use this right here. All right. So that is my lookup value. All right. So in this case, I won't look. Why? Because I want when I'm drilling down, it should follow in order. All right. Now, where is my lookup array? In this case, what am I going to use? I'm going to use this right here. I'm not going to use this. All right, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use this instead. All right. And what do? I'm going to lock this as well so that when I drill this function down, it's still okay. All right. And what do I want? I want an exact match. All right. Then I close that. And then it's asking me for a column. In this case, I'm going to do what? A match yet again. What is my lookup value? I'm not going to come in here as we did below. I'm going to use this instead. Remember I said I want us to do it in a way that if I change month, all right, it's going to show me what happened for each product. All right. And then in this case as well, I am going to lock this. Why? I don't want it to move. I want it to keep referring to this. So I lock this. And then what? Where is my lookup array? My lookup array is where? It is right here. All right. Another, I'm going to lock this because I don't want it to move. And then I want an exact match. All right, so that's what 0 tab. So close this and then I go ahead to close this. So let's hit enter. All right. So for P1000 in September, let me freeze this. Sorry guys, let me freeze this. Okay. All right. So in September for P1000, we sold how many units? 10. So I can go ahead to what? Drill this all the way. And as we can see, it's exactly the same. 8, 43, 11, like that. So now let's see if I change the month to January. Can we see what's happening? Guys, can you see what's happening? When we changed it to January, what happened? It gave us this. All right, and that's exactly what we are looking for. All right, can go ahead if you want to change to August, fine. Change to November, fine. It's changing as you change your month. All right, so I will take this one more time, just one more time. So please, if you didn't get it the first time, let me do this one more time. What are we trying to do? I want to create a tracker in a way that when I toggle between months, yeah, I can be able to get the unit sold for each product ID. Mr. Richard gave us one idea on how to do that, and that is what? Creating a data validation here using what? Using lists. All right, that was one step. Then the second step is what? How do we get the unit sold? All right, how do we get the unit sold in a way that it will change as the month changes? So first things first, index. Remember what index does. Our index function returns what is contained within the cell based off what? A row and a column number. Now it's asking me for my array. What I want to return, which in this case is the unit sold. Where is it? It's contained all through here. And what do? I lock this, or you give it an absolute reference, as most people would say. Why? I'm going to drill this down. I don't want to have to keep doing index match for all the product IDs. That's a lot of time. So I lock it. So even when I drill the function all the way down, it's still going to reference this area as my array. All right. And then comma. Now it's asking me for a row number. As we explained before, our product ID falls in rows, as we can see, but we can give it a row 1, 2, 3, like that. All right. So I'm going to use a match to return the row number. Now our match is asking me, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this. All right. I won't give it an absolute reference because when I drill the function down, I want it to change. All right. My lookup array, my product ID, where can I find it? All right, so I'm going to come here. I won't use this right here. I'm going to come here. All right. So now my lookup array, I want it to stay as it is. I don't want it to move. All right. I'm going to lock that or make it an absolute reference. And then match type, I advise use an exact match. Hit tab, I close that. So we are done with what? Array and row number. Next thing we're moving on to is what? Column number. All right, I'm going to use my match yet again. Now it's asking me what am I looking for. In this case, we're done with product ID, right? So next thing is what? The month right here. So I'm going to use this. I don't have to come here to do that. All right. So now I'm going to lock this. Why? I don't want it to change. All right. I don't want it to change when I drill down because I want every product ID to be feeding off the month that is here. Not a situation where P1000 is giving me November and maybe P1001 is giving me another month or something else. All right. So I would lock this or give it an absolute reference. Now it's asking me this month, November, in this instance, where can I find it? All right. So in this case, I can find it where? Right here. Right? And what am I going to do? I'm going to lock this or give it an absolute reference. I don't want it to move when I drill down. Next thing, what is my match type? In this case, I'm going forward an exact match. So I close this and I close this again and I hit what? Enter. So when I drill this all the way for November right here, as we can see, if you check everything matches. If I change this to let's say April, You can see it is changing. It is changing. It is changing. If I change this to August, as you can see, it is changing as well. So that is how you can build a tracker. All right, that is how you can build a tracker. And if you want to make it more secure, you can just lock this entire area, especially in situations where you have to share this with other people. You don't want them to come in here and change what you've done. Just protect your sheets, protect this area, give it the password or something. All right, so that way nobody can come in here. The only place they can make adjustments to is probably this area. That's the only area they can make adjustments. But this area is only you that can make adjustments to it. I can even lock this entire area since your month is right here. So that is that on how to build a tracker. All right. So you can do more than units sold. Imagine you have something like selling price per unit, cost price per unit. You can also do that. All right. And also, I need to note this right here does not have to be on the same sheet with your tracker. Your tracker can be on a different sheet. Your data set, which is this, can be on a separate sheet as well. So it's not necessary that, oh, this has to be on the same. No, it's not. All you have to do is make sure when you're referencing correctly. All right, so that when you drill down, it still follows the same way. All right, so that's about building a tracker. All right, so what else did I say? Okay, we're going to go through tables right now. Okay, all right. So yesterday, what did we do? We went through what this data set is all about. It's an e-commerce sales data set. All right. So we went through different situations. Someone mentioned, why don't we split this to text to column? I gave a reason why we did not. Someone asked transaction amount, why do we not put currency? And I said it's because of what? Different locations and their currencies. All right. And then someone said we should put this together to make it unique. So this is what we did right here. All right, so I'm going to go through this. Let me duplicate this. Let me put it right here. Let me name this table. Okay. All right, so what am I going to do? Since I've gotten the full names of my customers, I don't need this anymore. So I can what? Delete. All right. So now, how do you create a table? First things first, highlight your data. How do you highlight your data at once? Control A. Then we move on to what? Insert here, and we click on what? Table. Or if you don't want to do all this, just Control T to insert a table. All right. So now we can see a dialog box right here. It's telling me where is the data for your table. I already highlighted that. So this is it right here. My table has headers. Yes, of course. Then I click on what? Okay. Please, everyone pay attention. I don't want to do this a second time. All right. So what did I do? Control A, I went to insert and I clicked on what? Insert table. All right. And this is the dialog box that I brought up for me. Where is your data contained? I already highlighted that. So this is what it's giving me right here. My table has headers. Yes. If your table does not have headers on, check this. All right. Or if you feel your table is more than what you highlighted initially, you can come right here and do that again. All right, so I'm going to hit on what? Okay, let me expand. Okay, all right, so as we can see, this is what our table looks like right here. Let me go all the way up. And like I said yesterday, once you create a table, your filter and sort automatically shows up. The filter and sort automatically shows up. All right, so let's go through this again. From the left here, if you want to change your table name, you don't want it to be table 1, you can change it right here. If you want to resize, you resize in situations where you add more data to your sheet. Let's take, for example, more transactions took place. I want to include it. You just resize. All right. All right. So if you want to summarize the pivot tables, you can do that. But most times I don't use a table for my pivot tables. All right. I use a range for pivot tables. Then if you want to remove duplicates, we checked this yesterday, but let's do this. Select all. I'm selecting all the columns and then I hit what? Okay, so now no duplicates found. All right. So if you want to convert back to a range, you can do that by clicking on this. If you want to insert a slicer, you can do that. If you want to export, you can do that here. If you want to refresh, click on refresh all. So now when we come to this table style options, all right, what does it do? Your header row, if you want to turn it off, you don't want to be seeing your column headers, you can turn that off. As you can see, it went off. Turn that on, it comes back right on. All right. If you want to get the total row, your total row will be placed after the last row of your table. All right, let's try that. Total row turned on. So if we go all the way down, we can see a total row list inserted. Let's take, for example, I want to sum up the transaction value. All right, I can just come right here. And what do I do? The shortcut for summing is what? Alt equals. All right. All right. So let me do that again. The shortcut to sum, instead of doing equal to SUM, no, nobody has time for that. What do? Alt, as you are holding down your alt equals. Alt equals. So if you want to be sure, as we can see, it summed up everything right here. All right. And so that is that. I can hit on enter. If you want to do an average as well, you can do that. So our average transaction value is what? 1,011.6805. You can decide to format this. All right. So this is what you can do with your total row as well. All right. And then secondly, if you want to check how many unique customers do we have, because in situations, most times, one person must have transacted more than once within the period. So this and many more you can do on your total row right here. All right. All right. And then if we come right down here, what did it show us? Shows what? 200 right here. Because in essence, it's basically 200 transactions we have on this table. All right. So in this case, I don't need my total row. Most times I don't use it. So I can turn that off. And let me take this. Now let's move forward. If you click on first column right here, what happens? It formats this to look different from the rest. This is most times useful when this is more or less like your main column. All right. But if you don't want that, you can turn that off as well. Same goes for last column. All right. Then if you don't want your filter button to be there, you can just turn that off. But in this case, I need it on. All right. So now let's go to table styles right here. If you come here, you can change your table style to look however it is you want. As you can see, as I'm hovering over this right here, everything is what? Changing. All right, so you don't have to click before you see how it looks like. As you hover, you can see, oh, is this good? No, is this good? This is good until you get what you're looking for. We have dark, all right, dark themes, this, whatever it is you want. But most times, just keep your table simple. You're here for analysis and not for deciding your table. All right, so if you don't want any form of formatting, you can just click on none right here. When this you can use anything. Let's use this. This is better. All right. So let me add one more thing when it comes to formatting tables right here. Let's take, for example, we have guys, please, I just did something now. I type in what? TNX0201. Let's take, for example, your sales team brought another batch of transactions. All right. So if you come in here and you type and you hit enter, it automatically what? Includes it in the table. All right. But most times you might not have time to be filling this with your hands, typing and all that. You might make an error. So what do? You can just copy and paste it and then extend your table. How can you do that? Let me delete this. All right. So I'm just giving an example. Oh, this might not happen in reality. Let's take, for example, TNX 196 all the way to 200 right here. All right. Let's take, for example, it's the additional sales that occurred. All right. So let's take, for example, I can copy this. If I bring it right here and I do it, I Control V. All right. So as we can see right here, what happened? This has demarcated this table. All right. So let's take, for example, you copy a fresh set of transactions from another workbook or another sheet and you paste it right here. It doesn't automatically get added to the table you already have. All right. Why? Because you already defined your table range. So what can you do? Okay. Okay, you can just click anywhere in here inside your table, go to table design, and then you come right here, this resize table, click on it. In this case, it's stopping at where? 201. But now I want it to stop at what? 206. All right, so I don't need to highlight everything. I just come right here, change it from 201 to what? 206. All right, and note it said what? The headers must remain in the same row. All right, so I'm not changing my column headers. No, all I'm doing is what? Adding this to it. All right. So you have to be careful. Everything you put in falls into the column that is meant to fall into. All right. So I click on what? Okay. And as we can see, there's automatically what included that right here. So that is how you can add to your already existing table. All right. So what am I going to do? Let me delete this. Yeah, let me delete this. I just use this to give an example, or I can leave it there. All right. So any questions, anybody, please? Any questions, guys? Anyone?
Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello, Jumoke. Good
Yes, please, I
afternoon.
want to ask that this Excel file, you didn't send it to the class. Like, how can we get it?
This e-commerce, this one I'm using right now.
Yes.
Are you serious? I shared it. Please, sorry, is Jamaica the only one that didn't get this file? Let me know. Is there any other person facing the same? What?
I got the file.
Okay, you got the file. Okay. Any other person, please? Jumo, please, can you check the Google Classroom under Microsoft Excel class 5? Yes, under class 5. I think that was where I posted it to. So please check, or you check your mail. Check your mail as well.
Okay, under class 5.
Yes, under class 5.
Okay.
All right. Yes, I forgot to mention Jimo. Is Jimo here? Miss Jimo, are you here with us? Okay, I don't think she is. All right, guys. So that is that about how to build a table and how to format and add more content to your table. All right. So now we're moving on to the next thing, which is what? Okay. So we're moving on to pivot tables and pivot charts. All right. So pivot tables are like an essential part of data analysis. Why? It helps you to summarize your data in one place. All right. With the use of pivot tables, you can summarize your data and derive whatever it is that you want to derive. All right. So what's the purpose of pivot tables? Summarize, analyze, and explore large data sets quickly. All right, what are the steps to creating a pivot table? First of all, select your range of data. Go to Insert Pivot Tables. Then you choose where to place it. Do you want it on the same sheet where your data is, or you want it on an entirely new sheet? That is left for you to decide. Then you drag fields into area. You can drag or you click. All right, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. All right. So in our pivot table field area, we have what? Rows. In essence, asking you, what do you want me to place in rows? Secondly, what do you want me to place in columns? And then what values do you want me to return? Most time values go with what? Numbers. All right. And then filter, if you want to filter, that's fine. All right. And then we have what? Pivot chart. All right. Pivot charts are built of pivot tables. All right. It's just a visual representation of what is contained in your pivot table. All right. All right. So now creating dynamic charts. What are the various type of charts that we have? All right. The most common ones are what? Your bar or your column chart. All right. Your column chart stands straight. Your bar is more or less like horizontal. All right. So they're used to compare categories. Let's take, for example, you want to check the sales in each country. All right, you can use your bar or your column chart for that. All right, and then we'll move on to the next, the line chart. Line chart is mostly used for dates. All right, because it helps you show the trend over time. When you think of time, what do you think of? Think of dates, either month, year, or time, like actual time. All right. So example, we have what? Monthly revenue growth. All right. Then we have pie or donut chart. It helps you to show proportions. Now, let me explain more on this. When is it the best time to use a pie or a donut chart? Use it when your data is not too many. In essence, what are we saying? Let's take, for example, you want to see how many units of items sold. All right, you want to see how many units of an item was sold. And let's take, for example, you have up to 20 items on your catalog. If you use a pie or a donut chart, it's very, the proportion will be very tiny most times. In essence, what happens, the people that are looking at it can readily say, oh, this is that. This item sold more, that item sold less. Why? Because everything is almost looking the same. So most times, I best advise, if you want to use a pie or donut chart, keep it down to 4 max. 4. Most times I don't even go that much, but if you want to keep it down to just 4 categories, all right, just 4. All right. So if you know that your item or whatever it is you want to visualize with a pie chart is too many, just go ahead and use your column chart or your bar chart for that. All right. So, and then we have a combo chart. Combo chart, the most common one is what? Your column and your line chart. All right. Most times you use it for revenue and profit. If you want to show your revenue and profit on the same chart, you can use your what? Your column, your combo chart for that. You place your revenue on the column, you place your profit on the line. All right. All right. So then we'll talk about sliders and timelines. All right. Sliders provides clickable buttons for filtering categorical data. So your sliders and timelines are mostly for filtering your data. All right. Sliders can be used for anything. You can use it for your region, your product, what else? Your text data, basically, you can use it for that. All right. Or also you can use it for numbers as well. But then timelines, as the name implies, timelines, you use it for what? Your date column. All right. As you can see, your year, your quarter, your month, or your day, depending on what you're looking for. All right. So I'm going to talk more on this when we get right into it now. And now, what are the do's and don'ts? All right. Your chart should be clear and simple. All right. You don't have to visualize everything. Visualize what you know is important to your manager or your stakeholder or whoever it is, your client. All right. You don't have to put in everything into your dashboard. It's not necessary. Just go straight to the point. Give them the most important thing. All right. Use meaningful titles and labels. If you are putting titles for your chart, let's not be too long. Just keep it simple. All right. If you're checking sales by region, just write what? Sales by region. Or if you don't want to use sales, revenue by region. If you want to see by items purchased, you can do what? Sales by items purchased. All right. You don't have to go too extra about it. All right. And then what? Highlight key insights. All right. Use data labels or data callouts. I will explain more on how to do that. All right. Keep colors consistent and limited. Most times your colors is dependent on the organization you're working for or the clients that you are working for. If your organization's color is blue and white, keep it as blue and white. All right. So let's take, for example, your organization's color is which company would I use? Let's take, for example, you're working with Deloitte. I think Deloitte's color is black and green. Yeah. So what can you do? You can keep your charts in green, the colors, the company's color. All right. Most companies, they have their color code. All right. So because most times you won't find it easily. So you just have to go in and type in the color code and it gives you that. Most companies, they have their color code. So that's what you will use most of the time. But this time, if you're working independently, you're working on your own, Your clients, if it's a company, what is their code? All right. But if none of that is applicable, let's take, for example, you're working on a data set on your role. Let's say you're working on a sales data set. Sales, I think the most common colors for sales is blue and I think red. Yeah, I don't know too much about green, but I know about blue and red. All right. If you're working on fintechs or banks, most times it's blue. All right. But if you don't know, you can go online and search what is the color for a sales data, what is the color for a fraud data, color for customer support, whatever it is. All right. And then we'll move on to the next. Keep colors consistent and limited. All right. If you are using blue in chart 1, use it in chart 2. Don't use blue in chart 1, then move on to red in chart 2. No. All right. And then choose the right chart type. I just explained the different type of charts and what you can use them for. Then sort categories logically. This is mostly when you're doing your column or bar charts. It's good to sort it in a way that you can see how everything is moving, either from largest to smallest or from smallest to largest. All right. And then what are the don'ts? Avoid 3D charts, please. Don't use 3D charts. Don't use 3D charts. When I was taught Microsoft Excel, they also taught us this. Don't use 3D charts. All right, it's good to ruin a lot of things for you. All right. And like I mentioned earlier, don't use too many slices in pie chart. Okay. So you can limit to 5 categories. All right. What am I saying? In essence, when you're using your pie or donut chart, make sure there is a difference. People can easily tell what is this portion for, what is that portion for. All right. All right. So that is that. Avoid the grid lines. I don't use grid lines. I'll tell you guys what grid lines mean. Avoid shadows or don't use shadows. You're not designing. All right. You're visualizing. You want to tell your client or your manager what happened based on the data set you just analyzed. So please keep it simple and straight to the point. Easy to understand. All right. So now let me go right into this. Okay. All right. So if I want to build a pivot, sorry. If I want to build a pivot table, what do I do? All right. So most times, most people will tell you, oh, convert your data into a table and then move on. But most times I don't do that. I build it all the way from scratch. So let's get right into it. Please, everyone pay attention, pay attention. Come here and I will delete this. I don't need this anymore. So first things first, how do you create a pivot table? It's almost the same way with how you create a table. You what? Highlight your data. Go to insert right here, then pivot table. All right. But before we go into this, if you come here, you can see what recommended pivot tables. If you click on this, what happens? Based off the data you just highlighted, Excel will automatically suggest pivot tables that you can use. So in essence, what am I saying? If you don't want to be cracking your head on, oh, what am I looking for? You can come here into recommended pivot tables and pick whichever one you want. See, it has done like, this is over 10. The first one here is what? Sum of transaction amounts. All right, so anyone you want. All right, anyone you want, you can use it. Anyone you want. But then if you don't want to use the recommended pivot tables, you can build your own from scratch. All right. So come here into pivot tables. So now where is my data coming from? It's coming from a table or a range. The range I already highlighted with what? Control A. I click on this. Now this dialog box is open. It's asking me select a table or range. All right, I already did that. So it's automatically showing me this A1 down to J201. All right. Then choose where you want your pivot table to be placed. Do you want it right here on this sheet, this raw data sheet? Or do you want it on an entirely new worksheet? If I click on existing worksheet, which is this, I have to give it a location where to drop the pivot table. But in this case, I want it to give me an entirely new worksheet. All right. So now it's asking me choose where you want to analyze multiple tables. All right. So in this case, I'm going to add to the data model. Why? There's this thing I noticed about pivot tables. Firstly, you can decide to use one pivot table in building the other pivot tables you want. How do you do that? You copy and you what? Paste and then change either the column or the row or the values, whatever. All right. But then I noticed that if one table has an issue, all right, there's a particular issue that a pivot table can have, and it will affect the rest. Why? Because it just feels like everything is dependent on themselves. So what do I do? If you don't want to start building everything all the way from the beginning, what do? Just add it to your data model. So you build everything independently. So if one pivot table crash, you know that the rest will be affected and you have to be building all the way from the beginning. So I come here and I add to the data model. Then I click what? Okay. All right, so that is loading. All right. So what do we see here? Let me zoom this in a bit. Okay. So what do we see here? It's showing me what's pivot table right here. All right. So now, if we come here, our pivot table fields right here on the right. All right. It is telling me, first of all, fields to add to report. All right. You can decide if you want to type it here, transaction ID. If you want to type it, you can do that. All right. But most times you just come here into this box. All right. As you can see, showing me what range, because this is what my range of data. All right. And I can see on my column headers, I can see my ID, I can see my transaction date, I can see my amount, full name, customer occupation, gender, blah, blah, blah. All right. I can see everything right here. All right. So for our first pivot table, let's do something. I want to check for all the transaction locations. I want to see how many transactions took place within each location. So what do I do? First things first, my transaction location here. Can decide to click like this. So as you can see, once I click, what happened? It populated the rows with what? Transaction location. Now, that is not all. I want to see how many transactions occurred in each location. Come right here, I click on what? Transaction ID. I won't click on amount. Why? Amount will sum up. But transaction ID, I want to check how many transactions. I don't want to check the amount of transaction value that took place. All right. So I'm using what? Transaction ID. So you can decide to click and drag to values right here. So as you can see, what is it telling me? Count of transaction ID. So it's counted a transaction ID based off the locations that we have. So it's telling me in Egypt, 30 transactions, Germany, 24. Okay. UK, 22, United States, just 12 within the period. And down here, we have what? Our grand total. All right. So now when you create a pivot table, two things pop up automatically. First of all, we have what our pivot table analyze, and then we have what our design right here. All right. So when you come to this design, it's almost like your table. All right, your table design. You can decide if you don't want it to be blue or whatever. You can keep it the way you want. All right. So now when you come here, if you don't want your row header to be showing, you can turn that off or you can turn that on. If you don't want your column header to be showing, you can turn that off. So it just goes like this. But most times you want it to be obvious. All right. So when it comes to subtotals here, you can decide, do you want to show subtotals or you don't want to? That is fine. But then let's talk about this grand total right here. All right, when it comes to grand totals, you can decide, I don't want to turn off for rows and columns. If you click on that, what happens? Our grand total went off, right? But now if you want to turn on for just the rows, you can turn that on. In this case, it won't show. But then if you want to on for both, you can do that. All right, so whatever it is you want to do, if you feel you don't need this grand total right here, you can change it as well. All right, so this is our first ever pivot table. Now, another thing, if you come to pivot table analyze here, all right, come right here. As we can see, it's showing us what active field. It's telling us the column that we're currently on is what this. In as much as it's showing row labels here, but it's showing us what it's actually called, which is your transaction location. So you can just come in here and type transaction location, hit enter, then I fit this. All right. So now this is making more sense. If you don't want to be saying count of this, you can just change it to just transaction ID, and that is that. And then when you come to this, your rows, you can filter, or you can filter or you can sort. All right, whatever it is you want to do, the normal way you sort and filter, that's what you can do right here. You can decide if you want to see just Egypt, click on OK, and that is that. So the same way you sort and filter, that's the same thing you can do. Label filters, value filters, whatever it is you want to do, you can do that. So I'm going to clear this up. All right. So now moving on to the next thing. We're going to create our second pivot table. All right. So like I said earlier, you can decide if you don't want to create an independent, you can just do a Control A, Control C, come right here, click on Control V. And as you can see, it's showing us the same thing. I can come right here into my pivot table fields and change this as I want. All right. But in this case, I don't want that. What happened? I want to build an independent pivot table. I want to build an independent pivot table. All right. In the sense that anything happens to this, I don't want it to affect the next one and the next one and the next. So what I do, I click outside my pivot table. Yeah. So I go to insert right here. And then when I click on pivot table, initially it was showing us what table range external data source. But since I included my range in my model, I can come here and do what? From data model. I click on it. It's asking me, where do you want your pivot table to be placed? Existing, all right? Because I want everything to be in one sheet. I click on what? Okay, all right. So now, I come right here into my range. In this case, I want us to check for each transaction location, how much in total was spent. So same thing I'll do. I'll come down here, click on transaction location. In this case, I'm going to click on what? Transaction amount. All right, I'm going to click on transaction amount because that's what I wanted to show me. I wanted to tell me in total how much was spent in each location. So I can decide to drag this over here. All right. So as we can see, it's telling us in Germany, 23,018.59 was spent. But now this is not looking good. So you can as well format the same way you would format any other data. Control 1, I go to number, I need 1,000 operator, then 2 decimal place, and then I hit OK. So as you can see, it is what formatted here. Now this is showing me row labels, doesn't make sense. I can change this to transaction location, then here. Okay, I can leave this as sum of transaction amount. All right, but you can decide to change this if you want. All right, so now let me show something that we can do within pivot table. If you click here and you right click, this is showing you what various things that you can do. You can decide to delete the pivot table. You can decide to sort from largest to smallest or smallest to largest. All right. If you want to remove this, that is this sum of transactions right here, you can decide to do that. But in this case, I want to leave it. So now when you come to summarize values by, this is telling you that there are various things you can do. Remember initially, when we pulled in our transaction amount here, it automatically showed a sum. But then when you come here and you right click, when you come to summarize, it's taking what sum because that's what it is at the moment. But then if you want to see, let's say for example, the average transaction amount in each location, you can click on average, and as we can see, showing us what, oh, the average amount spent in Egypt was on 831. Okay, we can say, okay, South Africa has the highest average. You can go back here, summarize values by, if you want to see the minimum amount that was spent or the maximum amount, let's click on maximum. So, okay. So we can confidently say that, okay, the maximum amounts per transaction occurred in India, right? If I'm sure. Okay. Okay, no. Occurred in Egypt, 1,985.62. All right. You can right click yet again, summarize values. You want to see the minimum. So we can say, okay, in this case, India has the minimum amount spent on one transaction. So you can do a lot with your summarize. I'm taking it back to some. All right. So now when we come to show values as, is simply asking you, oh, do you want me to show it without a calculation? Without a calculation means as it is. All right. But then if you want to show the percentage of grand total, what is our grand total? Our grand total is what? 202,336. All right. So from this, we can conclude and say, oh, total revenue on the e-commerce platform for so period is what? 202,336.10. All right. So if we come here, anyway, come to show values as, all right. If you come to click at show values as a percentage of grand total, so it's going to check each of these transaction amounts, all right, and tell me what is the percentage to our total All right, so I come to show values, percentage of grand total. So now, what we from this we can conclude and say, oh, okay, India has the highest proportion, all right, with 18.06. So we can conclude and say, okay, we generated the most revenue from where? India, because that it has what 18.06% of this. All right. So if we go right in again, show values as they want to show values as percentage of column total. Let's do that. Still good to give us the same thing. Because this right here is our column total. So it's good to give us a percentage of our column total. All right. Show values as percentage of row total. It's going to show you 100% because these are the rows. This is one row, this is another, this is another. All right. So each row, definitely there's nothing else it falls on. So it's 100% for each. All right. So let's go back. Show values as, okay. So let me take this back to no calculation. And then what else can we do? You can do a lot of things. A lot of things. All right. Let's try index. Let's see what that does. Okay, so it's showing me 11111 all the way. All right, let's try something else. Show values as. All right. So most times, most people use this or this or this, but this is still good to give it the same as this. All right. But now I'm going to keep it as no calculation. Just give me the sum. All right. So these are the various things that you can do with that. And if you come over here and we right click, let's see what we can do. If you want to move this Ghana upward, you can move it to the beginning that it comes before Egypt. You can move it up that it comes before Germany in this case. You can take it down that it goes after India. Or if you want to move it to the very end, to the very, very end, you can do that as well. All right. So these are the major things you can do around here. All right. These are the major things you can do around here. All right. So now you can drill further. When I mean drill further, what do I mean? You can go further. Okay, we found out that for each transaction location, this is the sum of transaction amount. All right, let's go further. Let's say, okay, I want to check what are the items that were purchased in each location. What are the items that were purchased? So I can come here under my range right here. I look for what item purchase. This is it right here. So I want it to fall here. I want it to fall here. All right. So what do? Click on this, and then I drag it right to my rows right here. So it's going to come after transaction location. All right. So as we can see, this expanded. All right. So now in this case, we can go a lot further. If we come down, you can see air fryer, blender, cooker, this, that. Now we can't see what's the sum for each location anymore. So I can come here, right click, okay, so let's see what we can do right here. Okay, so let's take, for example, I want to show like the total for each location. All right, let's see. Okay, and we got subtotals. Okay, this is not working either. Okay, so all right, let me do that again. Remember initially when I pulled in my items purchased, yeah, my total for each location turned off. It wasn't there. So what do? Once I included the items purchased, all right, Egypt, that is the locations, became a sub of what our grand total right here, our grand total, this right here. All right. So now, if I want to be seeing it, all right, I want to see, okay, in each location, what is the sum? I go to subtotals right here, all right, and then I click on what? Show of subtotals at the top of a group. Why did it say at the top of a group? Egypt has become a group. All right, because all of this air fryer, blender, cooker, dress, they are all within this location. Same goes for Germany. Germany is what? A group of its own. All right. Ghana is also a group. All right. So that's why I went to subtotals right here. And then I went to what show subtotals at the top of group. All right. But if you don't want to see that, you can click what do not show subtotals. All right. And now, if I want to go back to just seeing the sum of transaction amount for each location, this thing right here is showing me what? An expansion. So if I click on this, all right, what do we see that just happened? It collapsed Egypt. So if you want to expand to see further what happened, this is where you come to. You can expand or collapse. Expand, collapse, expand or collapse. If you don't want to do that, you can just come in here, go to expand or collapse. Do you want to expand just Egypt right here, or you want to expand everything? In this case, everything is already expanded. So if you want to collapse everything at once, you come in here, collapse entire field. Okay, let's do that again. Go to expand or collapse, and I click on what? Okay. All right, okay, so that's fine. So let me do that once again. If you want to expand, that is to see everything, you click right here, go towards expand entire field, click on it, and as we can see, it has expanded everything. All right, but then if you just want to go back to how it was, just sum of transaction amounts for each location, we come here, not here, because when I did it here, it didn't work. So you come here where you can see this icon right here. Then you right click and then go to expand or collapse. If you want to do for just one location, you can do that. But in this case, I want to collapse everything. So I collapse the entire field. So as you can see, it has gone back to normal. But then if you just want to expand for one, you can do that as well. All right. So that is that about that. All right. What's the time? Okay. So let me go back. Okay. Mr. Joshua, are you with us? Mr. Joshua, are you with us?
Yes, yes. I'm here.
Okay, so are you using your system for this class?
No, I'm unable to log in with my system. I'm using my phone.
Okay, okay. Zainab, are you using your system for this class?
No, I'm currently using my phone, ma.
Okay, so is anyone using their system for this class? Anyone, please? Please, is anyone using their system for this class? Okay, so I don't think anyone is. Let me see.
No.
So you see, are you using your system for this class? Mr. Yasi Oluwole, are you using your system? Okay, so I don't think anyone is using their system. All right. So I just wanted someone to like practice what we just did, but since no one is using their system, all right, I'll just go on. All right. All right. So as we can see, we've been able to build what two pivot tables independently. All right. So another thing we can do, let's try out these filters right here. Let's take, for example, as we noticed, expanding all of this is a lot to consume all at once. Like imagine you expand all of this and then you're going through, it's actually a lot to deal with. All right. So let me collapse this and collapse this. So another thing we can do is instead of including our items purchased on the row right here, we can put it as a filter. All right, so what do? I come right into my pivot table fields. Under my rows, remember that was where I included my items purchased, right? I come down here. So now there are two things you can do. You can either come in here and unclick this. If you unclick this, what happens? It takes it away entirely. But now I actually want to move it from here to here. So I can just come here. As we can see, a black pointed cross is popping up. So I can just left click and then drag it all the way here. So as we can see what happened, this showed up. This right here is showing up. And why is it showing me all? It's showing me all the items purchased in each transaction location, what is the sum. All right. Let's take, for example, I want to check, all right, how many how much was spent on air fryer in each location. So I come here, this is to what expand. All right. I click on what air fryer and I click what okay. So as we can see what happened, some things changed. Before I could see every location, but now it's telling me that okay, air fryer was just sold in Egypt, India, Nigeria, SA, and UK. All right. So you can point that out that okay, air fryer didn't sell out in every location. Come here. Now, if you want to do a multiple selection, in essence, what does a multiple selection mean? You want to select both air fryer and bed frame. All right. You come here, this select multiple items, click on it. So now you can see this box beside the items popped up. All right. So like I said, I want to check how much was spent on air fryer and bed frame in each location. I go here and I click on what? Okay. All right. So now it's telling me air fryer and bed frame only sold out in what? Egypt, India, Nigeria, South Africa, UK, and US. All right. So you can do whatever it is you want. Expand this. Go ahead. Whatever. Click OK. So show me for the 4 items how much was spent in each location. Can come right here. So now if you want to go back to selecting everything, just come right here, click on all. Right. If you unclick this, nothing would show. That's why we can't click on OK, because you have to click on something. So if you click on all, it selects everything. So this goes back to normal. All right. So that is what you can do with your filters icon right here. All right, so we've talked about what filters, we've talked about what rows, we've talked about what values. Now, another thing, what can you do with your columns right here? What does columns do? Your rows is arranged in rows, as we can see. Then your columns be arranged in columns like this. All right. So now let's try something. I want to see the amount that was spent on each item purchased. All right, I want to see the total amount that was spent. So instead of me coming here to click this out, I just drag this and I drag it over here. All right. Now what do we see? This is too long. Like this is way too long. This is way too long. Who will understand this? Nobody. Nobody will understand this. All right. So most times you use your columns here when it is just a few, just a few. All right. So let's take, for example, let me click this out. What is just a few in this data set? For example, marital status is you just have 2 status here, either single or you're married. So you can come here and put this under the columns. Now this makes more sense, very small and concise. All right, so this is a lot easier. So from this, what can we tell? I can change this if I want. I can change this to marital status. All right, so that's that. So now, as we can see what happened here, I placed marital status on the columns right here. I remember I turned on grand total for both rows and columns. So this as well is very useful. You can come here and format this, all right, to make it stand out. All right. So now from this, what can we say? We can say, okay, in Nigeria, no single person purchased an item. No, because you can see this is black. No single person purchased an item. All right. So you can use this, report back to the sales and say, I think there is a problem. Why is it that no single person purchased an item from our platform? You can be like, oh, okay, you can recommend, let's start pushing out items that best suit single people. So that is a recommendation you can give. So I'm indirectly teaching you guys now how to build your recommendation and insight. Your insight is what? No single person purchased an item from Nigeria. Not a single person. All right. Then you can suggest, oh, let's start. You can carry out a market research to know what happened, or whatever it is you can do. Just make sure that we get into the market of single people. All right. So this, as we can see, is the various ways you can use your pivot table. All right. There's so many things you can do with this. All right. So this is dependent on what you are looking for, what your manager is looking for, what your client is looking for. That will determine how your pivot table is going to be. All right. But the main thing is just to make sure your pivot table is giving you what you want. You don't have to pack up everything. You have to put in so many details into your pivot table. All right. Just make sure it is right on spot. Just the things you need. All right. So that is that about that. All right. So I'm going to take this out. So I don't need this. I just need just this. And I can take this back to the way it was, just like this. So please, any questions, anybody? Any question? Any question, please?
Excuse me, ma, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Okay, I understand the second pivot table, but what I don't understand is the first one that you made. The transaction ID there, is it the amount of, I don't understand how you sum it up to get 200, like,
Okay. Okay. So let me go through this again. What I wanted to find out with this pivot table is for each location, how many transactions took place in it. All right. So when we go to our range right here, what can we count that will give us the number of transactions that took place? If we use dates, it won't work.
yeah,
All right. If we use amounts, it's going to sum it up. All right. If you use full
yes,
names,
ma'am.
surely it can't work because one person can transact in another. All right. If it's customer
Yeah,
occupation, it can work. Gender cannot work. Age won't work. All right. Same as the rest. So the best thing to use is what? Your ID.
mm,
The best thing to use is what? Your ID. So that is why you're seeing here what's transaction ID. But remember when I pulled this in initially, it was showing me what count of transaction ID. So it checked, it's starting with Egypt, it checked, oh, how many rows can I find Egypt in based off the transaction ID?
yeah,
All right. So that is what it did. So it was telling me what for Egypt, 30 transactions, for Germany, 24, Ghana, 19, like that, like that. One insight you can build from this is the most transactions happen in India because India has what 33 transactions.
yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome. All right. So I want to try something here. You mentioned something, the count. Let me see if this can happen here using transaction amount. So I right click, I summarize values. Let's click on counts. Okay, so yes, it can work as well. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay, so all you have to do is just format this to look like this. All right, so let me take this back to a sum. All right, so any other question?
No question. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, all right, all right. So that is that about building a pivot table. That is that about building a pivot table. Please, any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, so since there's no question at all, let me go back. Let me see. Mr. Conley, are you with us? Mr. Conley, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, so now I'm going back to our data set, right?
Okay.
So now I want to build another pivot table. In this case, I want to check for each unique customer. I want to see how many transactions that person made within the period. How do I do that?
Okay. Um, First of all, we can copy the existing pivot table that we already have and paste it on
No,
a
like I'm, I'm following you step by step. Tell me what should I do?
okay. We can use um transaction ID. We can put transaction ID on a row, and then transaction ID again. We can put it on the value.
Okay. Okay. So should I try that?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. So am I copying and pasting or am I building an independent one? What? Mr. Kunle, I can hear you.
Map, what do you say?
I said, am I building an independent pivot
Hello?
table or I am building off an existing one?
No, no, we can do a new one.
Okay, we should do a new one. Okay. So I'm going to build a new pivot. Come to insert pivot tables. I'm building from model. Same sheet. Okay. All right. Pivot table is here. What next? What next, Mr. Kunle?
Okay, okay. We can. I'm thinking if what I said before we walk. So because that might. All right. So what I said before was that we should put the transaction ID. Isma, can you remind me of the question again so I can
I
think
said I
well?
want to find out for each unique customer, how many transactions did that person?
Okay. Did that person? Okay.
Yeah.
Or all right. Uh, so I think we can try customer name
Okay.
and then we can try customer name.
Where does the
That
customer
customer name will be on ma'am
where
on
will
the
the
row. It's on the
customer
row.
on the row? Okay.
Yeah. Or customer, yeah. Then we can put transaction ID on the value.
Okay, that's nice. Okay. All right, Mr. Kunle, you're correct. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So from this, we can readily say that who has this is a lot. This is a lot to start going through. But I can see we can find the yes so far. So we can readily say that what Belinda Harris right here made the highest number of transactions. That is, she bought from the platform the most within the period. Mr. Kunle, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kunle, we're not done. Let's
Or
go a
better still, we
little.
can sort that.
We can sort. Ah, okay. Okay. So how do I do that? Okay. I love this. Okay. So how do I do that?
We can click on the drop down.
Okay. Okay, I click on the drop down. Okay.
Yeah, the drop down are all right, and I think we can come to think value filter, since we want to filter by value.
Okay. I've clicked on value futures. What next?
Ah, uh, can we, can we try? And we want to see the transaction for everybody, right?
Yes. You said we should sort it so that it's easier for us to locate, right?
Yeah. So maybe let's check more options. Maybe more sort options. I think we should find what we're looking for.
Okay, this is what I see in sort options.
Okay. All right. I think we can sort by ascending. Hey.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Then can we click on that button? Maybe we can see transaction ID there.
Transaction.
The
Which
drop down button where the
This?
full name is. There's a drop down button.
Okay.
Yeah, count of transaction ID.
Okay.
All right. So we can check. So we can click OK. I think that should. Yes. Dash.
Okay. So yeah. Amazing. Yeah. But
Okay.
this time, remember we did it the other way around. No, you're actually correct. We did it the other way around. We did what ascendance
Okay.
from smallest to largest. So let's do this again. Go to more sort options. In this case, we're going to do what descending, right?
Yeah. Yes.
By count of transaction ID, and then I click on one. Okay. So
Okay.
that was amazing, amazing. Ms. Akunle, that was very, very amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you. All right. So everyone, I hope we understood what Ms. Akunle, we're not done. No. I hope we understood what we just did right now.
Okay.
All right. So there's another way we can do this. Click on your number right here. Right click. Okay. Okay. All right. So when we right click on the number, you can come to sort right here. So if we do this, we can see. So instead of having to come in here and doing this, but that was very smart, Mr. Akunle, I must say. You can just come right here, right click, go to sort, and that's it. All right. So now, Mr. Akunle, okay, Belinda Harris made the most purchase on the platform, right? That is fine. But now, where does Belinda Harris carry out her transactions from? From what location? How will I do that?
Okay. I think we can put our location.
We can where?
Yeah, we can come back to our pivot table field.
Okay, pivot
Put
table
our
field.
location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let's put it.
Okay. So I think we can check for the location.
Okay. Okay. This is it right here. Where will I put it?
Yeah, we can put it on the value.
On
No,
the
on the rows rather, on the road. So we can put it on the road.
on the rows. Okay, so I drag this. Perfect. Perfect. So that was nice. Mr. Kule, yeah, but so look at you, you're just smashing everything. You're just killing everything. Please collect your
Thank
accolade.
you.
Collect your accolade. I love that. I love it. That was so impressive, like so amazing. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And
Thank
yes,
you.
that is how we do
Thank
it.
you, ma'am.
So from what Mr. Kunle just told me to do, Belinda Harris transacted only from what, India. Now let's see, did anybody transact in multiple locations? You can see nobody so far. Nobody. Everyone transacted from just one location. All right. So that is nice. That is nice. So now we can drill further on this. If I want to find what date did they transact, all right, I can come to transaction dates right here. Hold this. Okay, sorry. All right. So this is me going deeper and deeper and deeper. All right. So let's pick the first person. Belinda Harris transacted the most in what month? August. All right. So as you can see, the transaction dates gave me just the month. All right. If I come down, like I go all the way down right here, I can see what transaction month. But now I want to see the actual date. No. Okay. So I can come here, then I drag this right here. So as I can see, I've put in what's the month, all right, and what's the day. So let me make this make more sense. Most times when you click on your transaction date, the first thing that pops up is what's the month. So what can I do? I can come right here. I go all the way down and I unclick the month. So now let me arrange this to make more sense. Okay. So I want this to come after this. Okay. Let me do that again. All right. So I want to see the exact date. So I bring this and I put this. All right. Let's just use this. Okay. So now I can say that Belinda Harris transacted the most in what? August. All right. If we go down in August and July, because August and July have the same count. If I go down, Thomas Harris transacted the most in what? January. Michael Davis transacted the most. Okay, there is no, all of them are literally the same. January, February, May, June, one transaction each. Linda Ramirez transacted the most in what? May. Like that, like that, like that. All right. So now if I just want to see the date that each customer transacted, I'll come here. This location, come here, remove field. This right here, I'm going to remove as well. I want to see the date. All right. So now if I expand this, all right, what is it showing me? In January, what date? 27th of January 2024. Collapse. If I come in February, 24th. If I come into July right here, I can see what? 8th, 9th, and 19th of July. like that, like that, like that. So there are various things. You can continue to drill and drill and drill and drill into your data set, all right, until you find what you're looking for. All right, so this is it about pivot tables. All right, this is it about pivot tables. So I'm going to take this back. I don't need this. I don't need this either. I just want this. All right. So Mr. Kunle, thank you once again. All right. So as you can see, we have a whole lot of
Thank you, ma'am.
customers. Thank you. We have a whole lot of customers. A whole lot of customers. All right. So you can keep this like this for your pivot table. All right. You can keep it like this. Or if you want to see the top 10, how do we do that? Come here, or you can come here, go to what value filters, go to what top 10. This is almost like your normal filter. All right. Do you want to see top 10 or bottom 10? I want to see what top 10. Top 10 what? Items. Items by what? Count of transaction ID. All right. Because we can't really get a top 10 from a text. You get a top 10 from actual values. So top 10 by transaction ID. I click on OK. So what is it telling me? Belinda, Mitchell, Linda, Thomas, Candace, all the way down to Michael Johnson made the most transactions from the platform. Same way, if I want to check the bottom 10, I can come here. Go right to bottom, everything stays the same, and I click on OK. So you can see Victoria Walker, William Davis, Lisa Phillips made the least. All right, so this is another insight we have derived from this data set. All right, so that is that about pivot tables. Any questions? So we can move into building pivot charts, please. Any questions, anybody? Okay, so since there are no questions, I want us to build one more thing and then we go into building our pivot chart. I want to see for each customers how much was spent by each of them. Come right here, go to insert, pivot tables from data model. Yes, existing worksheet. Okay. All right. So now, same thing I'm going to do. Full name, I drag it to my rows. Transaction amounts, I drag it to values. And I can go ahead to what? To format this into what number? I need 1,000 operator, 2 decimal places. Then I hit OK. All right. Same thing I can do here. I can go to value filters, top 10. I want to see the bottom. I click on OK. All right. So now, as we can see, yeah, as we can see, David Jones seems to have spent part of like the lowest amount within the period, in as much as it's not part of the bottom 10 of transactions that was carried out by each customer. All right. But then when we look at Joseph Lewis, yes, falls under bottom 10 transactions and bottom 10 amounts spent. But then David Jones is not here. So in essence, what can we pick up from David Jones here? We could say, okay, in as much as David Jones purchased more, all right, it doesn't mean that he spent more money. Do you understand? Someone can carry a transaction on the platform, can carry out 10 transactions, but then when you check it, the person might be buying what? Maybe pencil or other low value items. All right. So it doesn't mean that, okay, customer visited our platform a lot. That means, oh, he will spend. No, you can visit a lot, but then what he's buying is of low value. All right. All right. And then who else can we see? Okay. Lisa spent the least money. All right. And as we can see here, she came into our platform just once. So we can conclude that, okay, Lisa Flip just spent 140 on our platform. That was how much she spent. All right. So who else can we find out from this? All right. Please, who can tell me who appears here but doesn't appear here? Anybody, please. Is there a name that appears here that doesn't appear here? Anyone?
Joseph Klein.
Joseph Klein. Okay. Okay. All right. So yes, that is true. We can say what we assume for David Jones can be the same thing we can assume for Joseph Klein. All right. For the fact that it visited a platform and got stuff doesn't mean that the amount is spent is a lot. You just spend what 1186.17. That is the bottom part of the bottom 10. All right. That was amazing. Thank you. Who else? There is a name that I'm not seeing.
Robert Miller.
What?
Robert Miller.
Robert Miller. Okay, where can I find that? Where does he not appear?
Under the count transaction ID.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes. So Robert Miller here does not appear here. So the same conclusion we gave about David Jones, Joseph Klein, is the same we can give about what Robert Miller. All right, they only transacted twice, but then the amount spent is considered low to us. All right, any other name, please?
From the other side, the count of transaction ID, John
Yeah,
Wong and Diana Valdez. So they appear on
amazing,
the count of transaction ID, but don't appear on the other side.
amazing. Thank you. Sorry, who is that? Who is speaking?
Ayomide, it's Ayomide that
Oh,
is speaking.
okay. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Ayo. Thank you.
yes.
Yes, John Wong is here. Diana Valdez is here as well. But then they happen to have spent above the lowest. So in essence, what can we conclude about John Wong and Diana right here? What they purchase is of what? High value. All right. Maybe, I don't know the highest selling item, but let's take, for example, let's go back to our data right here. All right. Where is our item purchase? If we go through this, we can reliably say a printer is expensive, a laptop is a refrigerator. So it can be that John Wong and Diana bought maybe a printer or a laptop, something of high value. All right. But maybe they just came onto the platform just once. And that we can say, okay, that is fair. Why? Most times, who buys a laptop more than once in a year? It's possible, but most of these things, mostly once within a long period before they get another one. All right. A refrigerator, you get it once. All right. Unless you want to upgrade or the one you have is damaged, you can change that. All right. So for John and Diana, we can say they purchased high value items, but it just came onto the platform twice. All right. So yeah, that is that. I'm just telling you guys how we're already building insights already. We are building insights. All right, so now let's go into how to build your pivot chart. Let me name this as pivot analysis. All right, so now we're going to build our pivot chart. So we're going to use this. Let's call this our dashboard. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, your pivot chart is built off your pivot table. So what is the first pivot table we have here? We have what? Transaction location and account of transaction ID. So how do I build a pivot chart? I can select all of this, and then I go towards pivot table analyze. If you come here under your tools, you see what your pivot table, your pivot chart, sorry. I click on it. So now it is showing me all the possible charts. All right, I have my column, my line, my pie. Column up here, we have different type of column charts that you can build. This is what we call that 3D chart that was showing you, that was talking to you guys about. This is it right here. It's more or less like a block. All right. But then, like I said, don't use it. All right. So this is what a clustered column. A clustered column is where, let's take for example, you have revenue and profits on one pivot table. All right, what will this do? Revenue will be on one column, then profit will be standing right beside it. And most times it's very useful for situations like that, so that you can check, okay, are we making more profit or we're making less profit? From your columns, you can automatically see that. But in this case, we have just one column, which is what's our transaction location right here. All right. And then when we come here, this is what our stacked. So one category is on top of the other. For example, your revenue can be on top of your profit. All right. But most times I don't use that. I prefer using what's this. This is more easier to see, like more easier to understand from just looking at it. So in this case, I'm going to use what's my clustered column. All right. I click on what? Okay. All right, so this is what we have right here. So now I don't want it to be here. What do? I click into right on top here. Then I Control X this, which is to cut it. And I move to my dashboard here. Anywhere, I can click anywhere. Then I Control V. And as you can see. So guys, pay attention. We started building our dashboard. First thing I love to do when I'm building my dashboard, I take out all these grid lines. I don't need it. I go to my view and I turn off what? My grid line. So as you can see, it's just plain. And then this right here, this lines right here is what is what they call grid lines as well. Grid lines within your chart. So you can click on any one and then just press delete and it goes out. Now, another thing you can do, you don't need this thing right here, the total. You don't need it. You can what? Delete it just to create more space. All right. And then next thing, this right here is the same thing that we are seeing right here. So this drop down right here is the same thing we are seeing here. All right. So if you still want to be controlling your chart from this point, you don't want to go back here, you can do that. But then if you want it to just be showing just this, to take this out and to take this out, come into no come into your pivot chart analyze, go into these field buttons right here, come here, this show axis field buttons, turn it off. As you can see, that went off. All right, if you want to keep it, you can turn it back on again. But in this case, I don't want to see it. My countries are, there are very few, so there's no need for me to trim it to look smaller or just to show the top 10 or bottom 10. All right, this is okay. Everyone can see all the location at once. Another thing, I want to take this guy here out. So as we can see, come to field buttons, you can toggle any of this on or off. All right, you can turn this off as well. So now, if you don't want to see this, you want to put it right on top of your columns right here. You can come here and what? Delete that. So it's giving your chart more space. All right, then you come here, click on any column, then right click. If you come down here, look for add data labels. You see this, click on it. And then let's first of all check data labels. Add your data labels. This is what a data label looks like. All right. But then if you don't want a data label, you want a data callout. Let me show you guys what a callout looks like. A callout is more or less like, come here, add data callout. So now this is what a callout looks like. It looks like sort of like a message box that contains your data. All right. It is showing you for Nigeria, like this is not looking good unless we expand it. And still it's not looking good. Most dashboards must are same. You don't see things like this. So what do? Click and I delete. That's not what I'm looking for. I use what? Data labels. All right, so this is this about that. Now, if you don't want the color to be like this, you want to change it. What do? Click anywhere. Format data series. So when you come to this site, you can use this to format either your data labels, your this, anything you want to do at all. So if I click, it is taking me to where I can format it. All right. Anywhere I click on, it's taking me right there. So let's say, for example, I want to format this. The spaces in between this is too much. I come, click. I click. So when I click once, it highlights every column. All right. I go to my series options right here. When you go to series options, come down here under your gap width. Your gap is this space in between each column. So you can decide, in this case, it's all 219%. If we increase this, let's see what happens. Let's say we increase it to 300. So as we can see, if we increase, the space is expanding. But in this case, I want the space to be very small. I can keep it at 30%, for example. So now we can see this is what it looks like, right? And now another thing, if you don't want this color, come here, this thing that looks like the pouring something out of a bucket. Click on it, come to fill. Fill means what do you want to fill each column with, what do you want to fill it with. So if you click on no fill, we can see no color is there, but then there's still a border. If you want a solid fill, that's fine. But then in this case, our solid fill is showing us white, as you can see here. So when you click on, initially you clicked on what? No fill. So it took a no fill means a white background, like there's nothing there. All right. But then if you go to what? Solid fill, it shows you the color that is there. In this case, it is what? White, because we placed it on no fill. But then if you want to change it to another color, come here under this drop down, click. We have various colors that you can pick from. Want to use a purple? That's fine. If you want to use Like there's so many. And then if your company has a color code, obviously you may not see it here. You may or you may not see it here. All right. You can come here into more colors, click on more colors. So now this is where you type in your company's color code. Let's say your company uses a different type of red that you won't find normally. All right. You can come here, type in the code. All right. What code of red does he use? What code of green does he use? Okay. In this case, what is it telling me? It is a combination of red, green, blue. All right, but then the red is a 33, this, that. All right. So now you can come in here too and change that. All right. So let's do something different. Let me place this at 1010 each. I want you guys to observe this thing right here. Observe it. If I change, it is moving. And as you can see, this was blue before, but now it has changed to black. If I put it at 10, all right, this is the new and then this is the current. So now, what is this telling me? Initially, our columns were painted in this blue, right? That is the current color, all right? And then the new color based off my red, green, blue combination at this rate is what this color right here. And it has given me an hex. All right, that is the code for this form of combination right here. So our red, green, blue at 1010 each is what? OA, OA, OA. All right, so that is that. If you have your company's color code, instead of you coming here, you can just come in here and type it in. All right, so let's do this a bit. Can change this to 50. As you can see, this is moving and this is changing as well. Let me change this to 60. So now it is telling me that what a combo of red, green, and blue at this rate, this is what it's going to give me. Come here, change this to 70. So now this is that. All right. You can go back to standard color. You can pick anything at all. You can see the preview from here. Anything at all. Those are the standard colors that we have. But then if you don't have that, you can come into your custom and create yours. Just put in your company's color hex right here. All right. And then transparency. Transparency means how visible do you want it to be? All right. We can change, let's change this to about 30. All right. So we can see this is what it looks like. But then this is not good. This is not looking good. Let's just take it back to what it is. All right. So when you create a new color, it comes right here under recent colors. All right. So let's take it back. What color should we use? What color should we use? I love using blue. Yeah. All right. So that is that. All right. So now this blue is not looking like the blue that it's meant to be. Why? Because I made it transparent. So I can take this back to, let's say, a 1%. So that is that. So if you don't want your color to be too deep, you can just reduce the tone from the transparency here. All right. And then your borders. What are borders? Let me show you guys what borders means. Around each column, right here, around each column, there is a border line around it. All right. And most times the automatic border color is what? This color right here. I think it's white or something. Yeah. So now if you don't want a border, all right, you can just click here no line. All right. So when we click out, you can see there are no borders anymore. In as much as most time the borders are not visible when you use deep colors, most time not visible. All right. So that is that about formatting your columns. All right. Next thing, this is not understandable from a glance. This is a high column, it's going low, it's going high. No, we don't want it to look like this. All right, let's make it make more sense. Come here. All right, click. I go up here into sort. So now what am I going to sort? So I'm going to sort from what? From largest to smallest. Anyhow you want to do it. All right. So as we can see, it has sorted my data from what? From highest down to the lowest. All right. So now you can leave this as what? As an ash. Let me zoom this in a bit. All right. Let me zoom out a bit. All right. So now this is better. So as we can see, this is formatted in what? In ash font. All right. So what can we do about this? We come right here, same here. We go to what? Color. Change this to black. Okay, no, that's not it. All right. So what this thing I just did now, changing this color to black, what it affected was what? If I click out, this is what it affected, this line below here. All right. But in this case, this are text. All of this, they are text. So if you come up here, beside axis options, we can see what? Text options. Click on text options. So this is where you format your text. All right. So text field, what sort of field? Do you want no field? Click on no field. This is not good. This is only good when this area right here is black. But in this case, I want a solid fill. I come into the color right here, and then I change it to black. So as you can see, this has changed to black. All right. Same thing you can do for your label right here. Go to text options. You can use a red if you want. You can use a black if you want. So this is where you just change everything. So this is what it looks like. Now let's go to our chart header. In this case, what are we checking? We're checking what the total number of transactions that are carried out in each location. So when we come here, you can just double click. So as we can see, everything is highlighted right here. All right. So once you double click, this small thing pops up. And this small thing you're seeing here is what is right here. So instead of you coming here to change it, you can change it from here. Change this to black. You can reduce the font size to, let's say it's 12. All right, and then you can type. In this case, I can type what? I can type total transactions by location. All right, and that is that about that. So we've built our very first chart. All right, so second thing I need to add is this. Yeah, most times when it comes to location, all right, when it comes to location visualization, most people use what? Maps. All right, most people use maps. But now, the problem with pivot tables is you can't use a map on a pivot table. All right, let me show you what I mean. Come back here, under your pivot table analyze. If you go to pivot charts right here, come all the way to maps. What does this say? You can't create this chart type with data inside a pivot table. Please select a different chart type and copy the data or copy the data outside. So now what can you do? If you want to visualize this on a map, what can you do? You have to copy this and just make it as a normal data. All right, so this is what we can do. I can copy this, in as much as this is a lot of work, I can copy it into another sheet. Paste, I don't want to see. So now this is just in normal data. Then I can go into my insert. I can go right here. I can see my maps right here. So I click on map. All right, so as you can see, this is populated. You can see it's populated. So let me zoom this in a bit. Okay. All right. So as we can see from here on this side, you can see what transaction ID from what? Okay, there's something we didn't do. Let's do this again. I don't need this grand total anymore. So I just need this. I come back to insert and then I go to my maps and I click on this. So now let me expand this up. Let me expand this and then let me expand this. All right. So now, as we can see, coming onto this side, it is showing us the scale of our transaction count. So it's telling me from 12, 12 has like the minimum or the lowest formatting when it comes to colors. But let me say that again. 12 has the highest transparency. All right, let's take, for example, which country has 12? United States, 12 transactions. All right. So most of this area, so this area right here, okay, this is where the United States is located. This is where the United States is located. So United States has the highest transparency. So as it keep going higher, 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 all right, the color keeps getting more visible. All right. So now Nigeria, we can easily locate it. This is where Nigeria is, right here. All right. And Nigeria, we have what, 17. So it's a lot visible than this. So when you come to your chart types here, you can decide to change it to the way you want. If you want this, you want this. Okay, that is all we have. If you want this, whatever it is you want. All right. And that is that about what building a map. All right. So let me go through it again. You cannot build a map from a pivot table. All right. You can't build a map from a pivot table. You can't do that. You can't build a map from a pivot table. What will you do? You have to extract your data, paste it as values, and then build your map from it. All right. So if you want to change your colors, you can do that here. Go to change colors and just do that the way you want. All right. And then if you come into quick layout right here, as you can see, when I clicked on this, what did it do? Initially, this was on the side, but if you want it to be on the top right here, you can do that as well. If you go to add chart elements, Want to put a chart title, want it to be above the way it is, want it to be centered like that. You can see it came here. But then I don't want that. I want it to be above the chart. And then I want this to be right on the side, as we can see. So if we go back to chart elements, I want to put a legend. All right, and that is that. All right, so this is how you can build your map. All right. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Any questions? All right. So that is that on how to build a map. All right. So now let's go back. All right. So now let's do for this right here. Same thing I did. Pivot table, analyze, pivot chart. I'm going to use the same column. All right. And then I click OK. And then I Control X. I go to my dashboard right here. So now I can come right beside this. Click anywhere. Control V. So same thing I did here is what I'm going to do here. All right. First things first, I can delete this. Come here, delete this since I'm going to add data labels. All right. And then I come here into pivot chart analyze, go to my field buttons. I turn this off. Turn this off. And also turn this off. And then I come here. I delete this. So now next thing I'm going to do is what I can add data labels. Add data labels. All right. So now this is a bit too clustered, so I can decide to expand this a bit. All right. So next thing I'll do is what adjust the gap width. I come here, go to what series options, go to what gap width. We're using a 30, so let's keep it that way. All right, so that is that. And then what next can we do? Go here into lab fill. I want to solid. Come here. What color did we use here? It was this. All right. I come down to border. I click on no line. All right. If you want a solid line, for example, you want something like this right here. Let's see what happens. When you click on, you can see that there is what? An orange color borderline right here. But in this case, I don't want it. So I click on what? No line. All right. So that's that. We come right here. Go to text options. Can change this. I think it was this. Yeah, changes to this. We can change it to any color. I want to use a red. That's fine. For my case, I'll use this. All right. If you want it to be more transparent, you can change that to. Let's change about so you can see it's a lot more transparent. But then who will see this? Nobody. So I change this back to 0. All right, so that's that. I come here, I do the same thing, still under my text options. I want to give it a black. All right, transparency 0 so that people can see it well. All right, and then what else? I come right here, I double click. From here, I can change the size. We're using a 12, yeah. And then I write what? In this case, what are we checking? We're checking what's the total transaction value per location. All right, so the transaction, sorry. By location, or you can make this total transaction values by location. All right, so that is that. Let me change this to black as well. All right, so this is how you can build your dashboard. This is how. Let me zoom this. Okay, so now from this is what we can see, right? I mean, all right. So now this is a lot better. All right. So yes, another thing, if you want to take out this border you're seeing right here, let's go back to format plot area. This border right here, I don't see it. So you can decide if you don't see the border, if you want to see the border, that's fine. All right. Automatic. And that is that. All right. So we've built what? 2 charts already. All right. Yes, one more thing. We need to sort this from largest to smallest. All right.
And please, could you do that again?
So what do you say?
Could you can you do that again? Like the sorting from largest to smallest.
Oh yes. 1 minute, please. All right. All right. So this is better. So you click on any column. Right click, go to sort up here, sort. So if I want to sort from smallest to largest, click on this. So it's in this order now.
Okay.
Same thing.
No, thank you.
All right. If you want to sort from largest to smallest, you click it this way. And that's that. All right. Please, any questions? Any questions? Any questions at all? Okay. So now let's go to slices and timelines. All right. I go back to, okay, let me leave this. Let me push this all the way here. Let me push this all the way here. All right. So now when it comes to slices and timelines, what are slices and timelines used? They're used for what's filtering your data. All right. They're used for filtering your data. So when you come here under pivot table analyze, if you come all the way here, you can see what insert slicer, insert timeline. All right, let's start with insert slicer. So when you click on insert slicer, it is showing us what all the columns within our selected range: age, customer occupation, full name, gender, all the way down to what transaction location. All right. So now let's take, for example, I want to filter based off the age. All right, let's just try that. And filter based off age. I click on age right here, and I click on what? Okay, so you can see this pops up right here. All right. So now let's see. If I click on, I want to see what happens when I click on age 18 right here. I click on age 18. Oh, let's come down a bit. If I click on 21, what can we see? This slicer is only working on this pivot table. Why is it not working on this? All right, because if I click on 22, nothing is changing. If I click on 25, nothing is changing either. So now this is coming from your report connection. All right, you know, we were on this when we created this. But now I want it, if I click on any age, I want it to affect every table we have here. So what do I do? Inside my slicer, I right click. Where do I go to? Come here, your reports connections. I click on it. So now it's showing me select pivot tables and pivot chart reports to connect to this filter. In this case, only pivot table 4, which is this one, is selected. But now I want it to affect every other. So I take all of this. If you have more pivot tables, it will show it here. Then I click on what? Okay. So now as we can see, when I click on 22, it has affected every other thing. All right, if I click on 27, like that, like that, like that. Click on 25. All right. So we have ages ranging all the way from 18 to what? 68. So if I click on 68 right here. So from this, we can say that, okay, it looks like it's just one customer to one age. Because when I click on 66, for example, okay. When I click on 66, we can say that what John Wong and Michelle Edwards are 66 years old. But when I click on 62, it's just Holly Lee that is what 62. And then when we go up right here, you can see that it was only in India that a person of 62 transacted from. So if you want to take it back to a normal, this thing that looks like a funnel with an X, click on it to clear your filter. So everything goes back to normal. So now I don't want to put it here. I want to put it in my dashboard. I X this. Go to my dashboard. Let me just put it anywhere first. Okay. All right, so let me just build it from here. All right. Go to Word Report Connections to connect everything that I have. And I click on what? Okay. Okay, all right, we still have some time. All right, so now I have it here on my dashboard. All right, so if I click on 18, show me just what? India. Click on 826, show me just what? Morocco. So feels like most ages is just one person that is of that age. All right, so that is that on how to build a slicer. Most times, where do you put your slicer? You can decide to put your slicer at the top here. For me, I love to put mine here. All right. All right. So now, what are the ways you can format your slicer? You can see when I click on the slicer tab here comes up. I click on slicer. Let me show you the different things you can do. First of all, the color, you can change that. But most times, it's best to change it to the color of your chart right here. All right, so I would have showed you guys how to create a new slicer style, but that might take a little time. All right, I would have shown you guys that, but that might take a little time. Yeah, so now, starting from the left, I already talked about this report connections. All right, if you want your slicer to affect every pivot table, pivot chart you have, use your report connection. Slicer caption. What can you see at age? If I want to change this to caps, all right, I can put AGE and then I hit enter. So this has automatically changed. All right. So now when you come here into buttons, here we're seeing what's one because this is what's one. But now if I want to put it in like, let's say 2, what happened? It splits this into 2 columns. If you want to make it 4, like that, depending on what you're looking for. So when you create more columns, make it a lot easier to scroll. So someone doesn't have to be scrolling all the way down. Yeah, if you make this 5, all right, as you can see, nobody has to scroll anymore. You can see all the ages at once. All right, so this is how to build a slicer. All right, you can build a slicer based off location. You can build it anything at all. All right. So next thing I'm going to teach is how to build a timeline. All right. So let me click. I go to pivot chart analyze. I go to insert what? Insert timeline right here. So timeline only works with what dates or time columns. That's why, as you can see, it's only what transaction dates. Unlike a slicer, everything was showing. So I click on what transaction dates. Click on OK. All right. So now this is what a timeline looks like. Let me expand this a bit. So this is what a timeline looks like. First of all, we can see this right here popped up immediately. All right. It's almost like a slicer. If you come to timeline, you can change this to what? Caps. Transaction date. Hit enter. All right. That is that. So when we come here, this place that we see month, you can click on it. If you don't want it to be month, want it to be showing you the quarters. As you can see, this changed to what? Quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Come here, you want it to be showing you in days. You can see what all of this. So this is not good because it's going to be showing you every day of the month. And nobody wants to be scrolling like this. No. You can use what month, or you can use what quarter. If you use year, it's going to show you just 1 year. And it will really make an effect, as you can see. All right. So now let's connect every other pivot table, pivot chart to this. Come to report connections. I built this pivot table too, so that's why this is ticked already. So I want this to affect this, and what else? This right here. So I click on OK. You can see anything I click at all, it affects it. So if I click on 2024, it's showing me that it's just 1 year we have. Imagine you had more than 1 year. Let's say you had 2024, 23, 21, 22, like that. This is when years is useful. But in this case, it's just 1 year we have, so it doesn't make sense. You can use quarters or let's use months. All right, so now this is better. So what can we do? If you click on June, right here, let me take this down a bit. The slicer stays on the same position with your timeline stays on the same position with your slicer. All right, I love to keep it, sorry. All right. Let me reduce this and just keep it a bit in shape. All right. So now I clicked on June, right? That's why we see every other thing is grayed out like this. I clicked on June, and what happened? In Egypt, only 5 transactions with a total of what? 5,767. In Nigeria, just 3. So you can use it to check what happened. All right. And scroll, come here, like that, like that. All right. So when you come to your timeline right here, first things first, you can change your caption, which is this, to what you want. Then if you come right here, your scroll bar, you want to turn it off. All right. What is a scroll bar? The scroll bar is this thing you can see right here. So if you want to scroll all the way. But then if you don't want to put your scroll bar, you can turn it right here. Now let's go to time level. If we turn off our time level, what happened? This right here goes off. So let's take, for example, we want to keep it at just month. All right. You can take this off. All right, to give your slicer more space. All right. Now, selection label. If we turn this off, as we can see, selection label is what we selected, which is what in November 2024 in this case. So if you don't want this to be showing, I mean, everyone can see that this is November. You can just go to your selection label and turn that off. Your header, if you don't want to see your header, you can turn that off as well. But most times it's good to leave your header on. All right, so this is what you can do with your timeline. If you come to your timeline styles, there's also a way to build a style that matches your chart, especially if you can't find any of them here. There's a way to build your style, but then we can't do that right now. All right, it could take a lot of time to do. All right, so that is that about building slices and timelines. Mind you, you can have more than one slicer. All right, it's not necessary that you have one slicer. You can have more than one slicer. All right, so now let's take, for example, I want to see at age 26. How many people transacted in November? So as you can see, this is blank. Why? The person with the age 26, or the person with the age 26 did not transact in November. All right, and I don't. All right, so let's take, for example, 66, for example, nothing. 64, okay. So the person with the age 64 transacted in India, all right, once in November, all right. And what's the value of the item the person purchased? 529.19, all right. So that is that. If you want to clear and take everything back to normal, I can clear this. And then I clear this as well. All right, so that is that on how to build your slicer and a timeline. All right, so one thing I would love you guys to do at your convenient time, I'll send you guys like a list of other pivot tables you can build, and of course, your pivot charts that you can build as well. All right. So this is what you can do. All right. So now let's move on to the next. I said if time permits, what's the time? Okay, we have about like 4 minutes left. So let's see if we can do a little bit of, let me see what we have left. So we're done with this. So, okay, let me start from the beginning. Dashboard designs, I already explained everything pretty much, but let me just go through the notes. Show only the most important charts and numbers. I said that before. Layout ID, I already said that. Timelines or slicers be on the left. Your charts be in the middle, and then the bottom you can show your trend. All right, your line chart and all that, you can put it at the bottom. All right. Secondly, keep your color simple. Yeah, just use your organization's color, your client's color to do that. All right, group related items. You can group your charts together. Like I said, your slicers, put them together. The slicer cannot be on the left, your timeline is on the right. No, you don't be scrolling through sheets to be looking for it. All right, so keep it on one side. If you have tables, keep it on, just keep everything together. All right. Next thing, interactive components with slicers and formulas. Like I said, we've talked about this, how to build your slicers. One slicer can control more than one pivot table. I talked about that. If you notice a slicer does not control multiple pivot tables, go to your report connections and then tick all the pivot tables you want it to control. All right. So now the next thing I want to teach you guys is checkbox. All right, how to build a checkbox. All right, so I'm going back to our Excel function data. So I'm going to use this right here to explain. Now, I want to check how many units were sold in January, how many units were sold in each month and each product. So now one thing you do is what? To come here, go to sell, do this, come down, hit enter. No, no one has the time for that. So how do you do this? From here, let's click highlight, highlight one column after, and then one row after. I'm going to do this again. You come here, right click as I'm highlighting one column further, one row further. So now, what do? I hit what? Alt equals. So what just happened? This automatically summed up everything from here to here. This is what 3 to 1. You can confirm with your status bar here. The sum is what? 3 to 1. If you come here, this is what? 214. Same as we can see here. So if you want to sum up for month and product at the same time, you don't have to start doing equal to sum. No, nobody has that time. Come here, one column forward, one row forward as well. And then you hit what? Alt equals. So let me just make this make sense. I can bold this. I can bold this as well. So here it's showing me what's summation from here to here. All right, so this is what giving me 3292. So if you come here, 3292. So here, let me just give this a top and double bottom border. All right. So from here to here as well is what? 3292. So this and this is meant to give us this, ideally. Yes. Summation of this is meant to give us this. All right. So now let's take, for example, here. Let me copy this. Let me put it right here. And then now to sum up, this is total. This is also what a total. So let's take, for example, all of this right here. Let's copy this and paste this as values. Okay, now this is that. Let's take, for example, the company has, should I call it a target or a benchmark? All right, the company has a target or a benchmark. Let's check for the average. What is the average of this? 392. Let me put this right here. 392. This, all right. So now I want to check which of these product IDs met this average right here. All right, I want to check. All right. So there's something we can do to determine that. All right. You can either use your countif to do that. All right. But then there's something else you can do. Let's take, for example, your company wants to see like a checkbox or something. Now, how do you build a checkbox? A checkbox is built of a true or false statement. All right, a checkbox is built of a true or false statement. What do I mean by true or false statement? Let's say there's a true right here. There's a false right here. True, then a false. Now, this is what true, false, true, false, true, false. Let me highlight all of this. All right. Now, I don't see this true, false, true, false. What do I do? I can use a checkbox to determine this. Let's take, for example, okay, this is above average and all that. But then I want to see a checkbox. All right. The way I've highlighted all of this, I go to my insert, I click on what's checkbox. What just happened? Remember, this was true, false, true, false. So anywhere there's a true, it ticks it. Anywhere there's a false, there is no ticking there. This is a true. If you look at your formula bar right here, you can see a true. I come down, you can toggle this on or off. You can set it on this or take this off. All right. So in essence, a checkbox builds off a true or false statement. All right. So now that is that. Let me clear this up. All right. So now I've cleared everything. All right. So now, like I said, I want to check who sold above average. Obviously, everything sells above average. But now I want to use a checkbox instead. Then in our first, was it in our, I can't remember the class that we took the and or statement. I think it was in our second or third class. Yeah. So now the and or statement returns what? A true or false. All right. Let's take, for example, and tab this. Greater than this. And let's take, for example, this less than this. I'm just giving like an example, rough example. If I close this and I hit enter, what does it show me? False. And works with what? Every logical statement must be true. This, of course, is greater than this, but then this is not less than this. So that's why we return the false. So if I come in here and I go to my insert and I click on checkbox. What does it show me? This right here. It's not ticked. All right. So now let's push this a lot further. Let me clear this up. Now we're not going to use this. All right, we're not going to use this. So now I want us to go a little further. Let's come right here and insert this. I just want to show something. So now let's take, for example, the items left from the previous year. Let's say P100 was what? Let's say 400. Let's say this was 350. Let's say this was 390. This was 340. This was 290. This was, I'm just giving random numbers. So this was 320. This was, okay. This was, let's give for example, 410. This was 380. This was 300. And then this was what? 300 as well. So let's say, for example, we started the year with this for each of these items. All right. So now I want to calculate, were we able to sell off all of this? All right, were we able to sell off all of this? What do? I can find out what the balance. Balance is simply what we started with less what happened within the year. All right, then I drill this down. All right, so in this case, P1003 is remaining the most by the end of the year. So now let's take, for example, yeah. Okay, or past time already. Let's take, for example, your sales manager asks you, please, any item that is still left with 50 or below, please, I need you to flag it for me. We need to make a restock before the start of the next year. I take it again. Any item that is 50 or below, please flag it and send it to me. All right. What can we do? Can decide to do a countif here, or let's say your manager asks you to use what? A checkbox. All right. Look at this. All right. All right. So now, if I come in here, I would use what? The or. Why? Because my manager said it is either equal to 50 or lower than that. So if I hit tab, what is my first? This must be what? Equal to 50. Or what? This must be what? Less than 50. I close my brackets and I hit enter. All right. So if I drill this all the way, so in the case of what? P1000, yes, it is below 50. This too is below 50. This is below 50. This is not equal to 50, neither is it below 50. Like that, like that. So now, if I want to use the checkbox to determine this, I come right into insert. I don't want to send this true false. I want to see a checkbox. I click on checkbox. So in this case, you can say, oh, okay, every other item needs restock except this guy, P1003. Because I still left with what, 62 items as a balance as of the end of the year. So this is how you can create a checkbox. All right. So let me go back to our notes and see what else we have. All right. So linking charts and pivot tables to dashboard. I already explained that. So you start charts directly from pivot tables, connect slicers to pivot tables and charts. Place chart slicers, key numbers together on one sheet. That becomes your dashboard, of course. All right. Reporting and productivity. To refresh your data, you can go in. Let me show you how to do that. Come right here. Let's click on this. Come right here. To refresh, you come into refresh here, and then you can refresh everything. All right. So that's how you can refresh. What next do we have? Named ranges. I already taught us how to do a named range. Protecting sheets and cells. All right, let's do that quickly. Then we talk about printing. I've talked about printing and page layouts when I was talking about the page bar in our ribbon. All right, exporting to PDF. I'll show us how to do that. Time-saving tips. I don't think I can explain macros now, but let's see what we can do. All right. So how do you protect? Let's take, for example, I don't want anybody to tamper with this sheet right here. All right. So what can we do? All right. Yeah. So if you want to protect your sheets, you come into your review right here. All right. And then go to, you can either protect your sheets, that is just the sheet you're on, or protect your workbook, protect this entire workbook, the e-commerce data set workbook. Or you can protect just a particular area. In essence, you can allow them to edit a part and then the rest stays locked. So let's go to protect sheets. Click on protect sheets right here. Password to unprotect sheets. In essence, what is it saying? If someone wants to edit a sheet, the person has to enter a password. Let's take, for example, type Emanuela in caps. All right. So now when you come here, you see what protect worksheet and content of locked cell. This is ticked, yes. Now it said allow all users of this workbook to do what? What do you want them to do? All right. Want them to format cells, you can do that. Want them to format columns, whatever it is you want them to do, you can click on that. Want them to use auto filter, whatever it is. So let's just leave it at what? Selecting locked cells and selecting unlocked cells. So if I click on, okay. So now it's asking me to confirm my password. And I click on, okay. So now this was showing what's protect sheet, but now it's showing what's unprotect sheet. All right, let's take, for example, someone else cannot edit this area unless they have the password to this sheet. You can't edit any area of the sheet unless you have the password. Be it here, whatever it is, so far as it's this sheet, you cannot do that. All right, and as you can see, allow edit ranges grayed out. Why? Because we are protecting the entire sheet. So there is no area that anyone can tamper with unless they have the password to it. All right. Want to protect your entire workbook, you can do that as well. Put in your password, click OK, and then no one can access it. Yeah? Sorry, someone was saying something, please. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. How can you export to PDF? All right. Simply go to your file right here. Come here. On the left pane, click on export. Now, if you come up here, it's telling you what create PDF or change file type. In this case, I want to create a PDF. If I click on create PDF, it's loading up right now. So now it's asking me, where do I want to save this to? I want to save this to my OneDrive. I want to save it on my PC. I can go ahead and save it just on my computer. And that's that. So you can change the file name. If you don't want it to be e-commerce dataset, if you want to change the file type, you can come here and do that. But then I want to leave it as PDF. All right. And then click on one, publish. All right. So as you can see, this is what my data looks like on a PDF. This is what it looks like. It's a lot longer. Yeah, but this is what it looks like on a PDF. All right. So most times before you export as a PDF, it's better to structure your page, because as we can see, it is cutting out the columns. It's cutting it out. This is what customer occupation, it cut out from customer occupation like that, like that. Item purchase, marital status. So it's better to structure your page in a way that everything would fit in. So let me go back to this. All right. So now we've talked about what exporting to PDF. We've talked about what's protecting your sheet or your workbook. All right. So let's see what we have here. Not here. Okay. So time saving tips, macros. What's the time? Macros is a way of recording your action, especially an action that you know that you still do again. All right, let's take, for example, you want to alt equals. You alt equals, that is, you check the sum almost all the time. I don't want to start doing the whole alt equals. All right, you can just simply record a macro. So Excel records what you're doing, and then it creates a shortcut key for that. So whenever I click on that shortcut key, it repeats that action. All right. So I don't think I can talk too much about this right now because of our time. Keyboard shortcuts, I already talked about this. Control T, table, Alt equals, auto sum, Control Shift L to toggle filters on or off, Control 1 format cells. Now I placed a photo here. So this is like a better explanation of the various shortcuts that you can do. All right. I found out about this sheet, I think, a few years back, and it really helped me a lot. So you can just take your time and go through. All right. You can take your time, go through it, or whenever you feel you need to get something fast, you need to get something done quickly, you can just come here and see if there's anything that applies to that. So let's go to our quick access toolbar. Let me use this. All right, so if you come up here, after your autosave, you save your, this is undo, this is redo. Right here, before your workbook name, come right here, this drop down, click on Customize Quick Access Toolbar. What is Quick Access Toolbar? All these things you are seeing here are all quick access. So let's take, for example, there's something that there is, let's say, an icon or a tool or something that you use most of the time. Yeah, and you don't want to keep going through your ribbon to find it. You can just place it here, above here. All right. In this case, automatic save is here. All right. What else? Save, this icon is save. It is here as well. Undo is ticked. This is undo. And then redo is also ticked. Let's take, for example, you sort a lot of times. All right. You can click on what? So you can see this comes up right here. If you want this to also show that as well. And then if you want to easily open up a new, workbook, you can put it here as well. But then we don't want that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to turn that off. Turn that off. And then I'll also turn this off. So whatever it is you feel you do most of the time, you can come here and decide to hide that if you want. All right. And all that. So that is that. All right. So what next are we doing? Let's see. All right. I really wish I could touch on macros, but I don't think I can explain that to the point that everyone will understand easily. So, guys, that is basically all we have for our Microsoft Excel class. That is basically it. All right. I thank God that we're able to finish, in as much as we didn't really touch deep on most things, but at least we're able to do a lot. So, I said if time permits, we will do what if analysis, correlation, descriptive, grouping, but then our time has elapsed. What's the time? It's almost 7:30. All right. So guys, any questions so far? Any questions, guys? Any questions?
Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Itunu. Good
Hello,
evening.
good evening.
Yeah, good
Yes, ma'am.
evening.
Thank you for today's session. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. So, please, ma'am, the PDF showing the shortcuts Excel file, is it also on the platform where we can access it?
Sorry, come again. What do you say? Itunu, sorry, come again. I didn't quite get that.
Okay. The PDF file of the Excel shortcuts that you previewed now, where can we access it? Is it on the platform?
Oh yes, that is where you can find your macros, your shortcuts. It's part of week 3 notes.
Okay,
So
week 3. Okay.
yes, week 3 notes. That's where you
Okay,
find
okay.
it. You find it under
Okay,
week 3.
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So any questions, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any feedback?
Sorry for disturbing, ma.
Yeah.
Please, how do we mark attendance for today? Because I don't think there's anything has been dropped on the chat box.
Okay. Miss Blessing is in the best position to respond to that. Miss Blessing, how are they going to mark their attendance for today? Okay. I think Blessing is not here yet. Okay. So I'm going. Blessing is going to fix that, or James, either of them. All right.
Okay.
Will communicate with
Okay.
you guys. Yeah. So we have a project for us to do. All right. The project, you're meant to do it within a week, although more information will be communicated on how you can do that. All right. But I want to
Okay.
just show us a little bit of what our project looks like, just a
Okay.
glance, and then we close it for today. For what if analysis and consolidation, please, you can check out YouTube on how you can do it. But trust me, it's not difficult at all. It's not difficult. Macros too, it's not difficult. Watch YouTube videos, check how they did it, practice on your own, and you see that it's actually very easy. I dropped the what if and consolidation workbook on the classroom, so you can check that out as well. So let me just show us a bit of what our data, what our project looks like. All right. So let me look for that. Okay. So you have this. All right. So this is one. Let me open up everything that we have. Okay. All right. So this is our project instructions. I just sent it out to the coordinators. All right. You are to draft a management report on household and office equipment sales. All right. You are provided with a data set that contains 142 unique items across 3 sheets. This is it right here. All right. So in sheet 1, we have what cost price, sales price, and then units sold. All right. We have 142 items across different months. All right. On this unit sold, we have our balance brought forward. Balance brought forward is our balance from the previous year. All right. So let me go back here. Okay. So now your tax is to prepare a professional management report that summarizes the performance of Pine Household and Office Supplies Limited. The company's name is what? Pine Household and Office Supplies Limited for the year. A company and industry overview document is provided. Let me see if I can find that. Um, hmm. Where, okay, yes, this is it right here. All right, so this is what our company and industry overview looks like. But let me go back to the project instruction. All right. Your company and industry overview will help you in your findings, conclusions, and recommendations. In essence, you have to read that document as well. All right. What will your reports look like? Your report must be well presented, concise, and professional. Keep it simple, keep it straight, but hit the point on the head. All right. First of all, I need an executive summary, brief and straight to the point. You'll be splitted into teams. All right. So you have to learn to work with each other. The best way to work with your team member is what? Focus on your strength. Everybody does not have to do everything. One person can analyze. If you're good at analysis, you can do that. If you're good at drafting a report, assign that to that person. If someone else is good at keeping the team in shape, no problem. All right. If someone else is good at writing things, all right, someone can be good at presenting a report, but the person might not be good at writing the report itself. Just use your strength to get the job done. If someone is good at analyzing the data itself, please assign it to that person. All right. Now, the key financial KPIs: average costs price per unit within the year, average sales price, average unit sold, like that, like that. The month with the most MOM. What I mean by MOM is month over month rate. Please check online on how you can do that. It's very easy. All right. Highlight items that picked up later in the year. Items with continuous decline in sales throughout the year, like that. These are just the KPIs I'm looking for. Then summarize your KPIs into financial and non-financial. All right. For example, underperforming items is a non-financial KPI. Best performing in terms of units sold is non-financial. All right. But in terms of profit, it is financial. All right. Then secondly, build a sales tracker. The inventory manager resigned, and ever since there's been no one to track their stock. You are required to create a sales tracker in Excel format that shows the unit sold, cost price per unit, selling price per unit, profits per unit, like that for each item. It should be done in a way we can toggle between months. I treated this today. That was the first thing we did. All right. Restock alert analysis. Check boxes are suggested. I want to know number of items with zero balance carried forward. That means by the ending of the year, nothing was left. We sold out everything. Items with 50 or below 50 as they are carried forward. Carried forward is by the ending of the year, what do we have compared to what we had at the beginning of the year? All right. Percentage of items that require restock. All right. Number of items with greater than 50 balance carried forward. All right. And then I want to see a monthly trend, a line chart showing what total monthly revenue, cost, profits. In essence, I'm meant to see three charts from this one already, three line charts from this one. A line chart showing units sold. Comments on observed pattern. What do you notice? All right. Strategic insights and recommendation. Is the business profitable overall? Yes or no? Justify. Why do you say yes? Why do you say no? What is the company's performance when compared to the industry? This is why I said you have to read what your company and industry overview. Sales strategies to improve revenue and profits in the coming year. Stock management recommendations. Remember, we said the inventory manager resigned. All right. So what does that tell you? We need some stock management recommendations. Should we reduce overstock if there is? Should we restock fast selling items? I don't know. When you do your analysis, you find out. Suggestions on whether to drop or retain specific items. If you notice that some items at some point the unit sold was dropping literally every month, every month. What do we do? You can suggest maybe we drop it or we carry out more marketing strategies. I don't know. Identify growth opportunities. What can the company do? Which areas are we good at that we can improve on? Like that, like that. A tip, considering the country in question. That is why I say if you read your company and industry overview, you will see this there. The company in question is what? Nigeria. All figures should be rounded to zero. Why? Nigeria, we don't transact with what? Kobo. We transact with what? Naira. And that is what? A rounded figure. Round to what? Zero decimal place. There is a function in Excel called round. all right, you can use that. Round to 0 decimal place. I did not say you should format to 0 decimal places. Round it to 0 decimal places. There's a difference between formatting and rounding. I mentioned it in our first or second class. When you format, it doesn't change what is there, it just change how it looks. But when you round, it's no longer points whatever. It's now point whatever based off the decimal place you want. In this case, I want you to round to 0 decimal place. Secondly, a link to your workbook should be provided in your reports. Your sales tracker, restock alerts analysis, and any other supporting sheets should be contained in this same workbook. Keep it clean, please. Clean and easy to understand. Maintain a professional and concise tone. Highlight the key findings clearly and let your recommendations be presented in a way that aligns with the needs and expectations of management. All right. This is what your company and industry overview looks like. Talking about what is our company in question? Pine Household and Office Supplies Limited. If you read through, you see what the company has done over time. The industry overview, that is the industry where Pine operates in. What does it look like? All right. As you can see here, sales performance, average monthly sales for mid-size is what? 8 million and 12 million. All right. Seasonal demand influences like that, like that. All right. Unit sold, marketing, sales strategy, and then a summary. All right. So this will be provided to you. Your project instruction will be provided as well. And then this will be provided as well. All right. All right, guys. So
Sorry, please, ma.
yep.
Please, ma, the project, is it going to be in a presentation slide, like with different, like the questions we have to answer?
Yeah, you can decide if you want to put it in a PowerPoint. That is
Okay.
fine. If you want to
Okay.
put it, just make it in a way that it is easy to understand.
Okay.
All right. Remember, you're presenting to the management, in quotes, but anyhow you want to do it. All right.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
Just work. Thank you. Just work together as a team and get it done. Mind you, these figures here are fictitious. None of them is based off the actual market price. Please, they are fictitious. All right. I just assumed them. All right.
Okay, ma.
Yeah. So, any further questions? Any questions, anybody?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask how the grouping is going to be. Will they be the one to choose their team, or how is it going to be?
Sorry, I can't hear you, Blessing. What do you say?
I'm asking how will the grouping be? Will they be the one to choose their teams, or how?
No, no,
How do
no.
you want it to?
No, we'll decide that.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, we'll decide that. So hopefully tomorrow the team parent should be sent out to them.
okay,
But that's based on those that were actually active during all the classes. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
All right. So guys, I've literally showed you what your project looks like. So from this now you can start thinking of how you want to do this. All right.
So please, ma, when is the deadline?
The deadline will be communicated by tomorrow. But ideally, if you work as a team, this shouldn't take you up to 6 days and you're done.
Okay, okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
So maybe we should let them know that you'll be presenting your work. You only have this week. I mean, this new week to work on it. Maybe by Saturday,
Please be presenting your
beginning of
project
Manuela's
as a
time,
team.
be presenting your custom project. Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, depending on what day your facilitator is picking. That will be your presentation day. Custom project. All right, Emmanuel, you can go on, please. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
please, can you come?
All right, guys.
So
So
I
our
said,
time is far spent.
Uh,
All right, guys. So any further questions, please, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp. Just reach out to me and I'll attend to you. All right. But please, for this project, I want you guys to work as a team. Work well with your team members. One person does not have to do everything. All right. Everybody try. There must be something you are good at. If you're good at building PowerPoint, for those who want to use PowerPoint presentation, that is fine. If you're good at building that, you can start building the main things. Your executive summary, your team members, then you can start working on that. You can start working on how every page, just work as a team. All right. Let one person not do everything, please. All right. So by tomorrow, the team and their names will be sent out. All right. Possibly tomorrow morning. Yes. All right. So at this point, I want to say thank you to everybody. You guys have been so amazing. Thank you, guys. Honestly, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Idris. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Mr. Kunle, Aminat. Thank you. Is okay still in this class? Okay. Mrs. Omotoyosi Oluwole, thank you. Breakthrough, thank you. Itunu, thank you. Oh, it's okay. I see. Thank you. Alima, thank you. Joshua, thank you. Aishat Lawal, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for your cooperation so far. I mean, each
Thank
class,
you.
everyone is cooperative. Honestly, I love you guys. You guys are so, so amazing. All right. And I will appreciate a feedback from everyone. Any area you feel, oh, I should improve on, this area wasn't so good during the class, please let me know. Drop it on the group. All right. I would appreciate everyone's feedback. All right. Anything at all, I would appreciate it. Okay. Your comments, your feedback, let me just know. All right. I really want to improve. I want to do better. All right. So thank you guys so much. This is my last class with you. The next one is your project presentation. All right. So please, everyone, do well in your project too, because we don't know yet, but the best team might get something from me. All right. Yeah, I'm actually looking at giving the best team something, something that's worthwhile. All right. So please, thank you guys and good night. All right. I know a lot of us have not had dinner yet. So please go and eat too. Tomorrow is work. Tomorrow is Monday. All right. Let's go and prepare for tomorrow. All right. Good night, guys.
all right, thank you so much,
Good night.
Emanuela.
Thank you.
I'm grateful.
Good
Thank you
night.
so, so much.
Good night.